Decided to go live and do something. Been a while. And uh, it's been rather difficult to get everything up and going. Anyway, I decided to go live again, first time in a while. And anyway, how are you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. So this is about cello lessons and the Capriccio. I have posted a lot of mini practice videos, really short videos of me practicing the Capriccio by Quarenghi. It's been a long time in coming. The fact of the matter is, I just don't perform anymore out in public, and getting my hands to move in that way is proving to be a little more challenging than I originally anticipated. But not to be deterred, I will persevere. It's coming along. I made a little recording earlier, and I'd say that I've made a lot of progress. I'm gonna post it. Normally do I post it way before it's performance ready. But I'm really more interested in sharing what music is available than I am in doing a world-class performance. I mean, it's just something I'm not really capable of doing anyway. But I'm pretty good, and I have developed quite a skill of teaching beginners and intermediate players, and in particular, getting them to play really well with good sound, good intonation, and fairly relaxed in a quite a normal manner. And that's what I've been doing without pause for 20 years, despite not performing much over the last 4 years, 5 years. I hope that changes soon with circumstances. So we'll see. I will definitely strive to do that. So lessons. I have been working very diligently and very hard on making a video course that I will post for sale on several platforms, and I'll announce those. But something like Patreon, I can make it available there. Something like private video playlist on either YouTube or Facebook, and with a purchase you could access those. I could give you the link, and possibly Udemy. We'll see how that goes. They have a lot of requirements, and so it gets a little complicated. Just depends on how I can work through it. I have been teaching this Hugo Schlemmüller Opus 19, which is titled in the German, if I translate it to the English, it's titled The Very First Performance Pieces for the Young Cellist. And they're really nice. So my course, I state and outline what these pieces are and how he organizes them. And for my money, they're organized really well. They start with open strings and they build layer by layer incrementally. You get first and second fingers just on the upper two strings, and then first and second fingers on the middle strings, and so on. And then he goes back up to the upper two strings, first and third fingers, then first, third, and fourth fingers. And then later on, he introduces little slurs, 2 slurred notes, 3 slurred notes, 4 slurred notes, and mixed rhythms. So My course is not necessarily just for that music, but I'm utilizing it. It's like the vehicle by which I'm sharing information on how to approach practice. So lots of little preparation exercises. I've shared some preparation exercises before. For example, short bow strokes. To get started, instead of trying to figure out all the coordinating motions for an entire whole bow and keeping it straight, which even you can see I struggle to do because of just lack of performance. When you're not performing, you oftentimes revert back to really old habits that haven't surfaced for years or just have been problems for years too. So even shorter. I don't know how much other teachers will agree or disagree with that, but I have found it to work quite well with my students because they can focus very specifically on just one little motion, usually something like this. And then if you focus over on the left hand, you could, to build strength, I know this happens quite frequently with violin teachers, and I hadn't seen it so much with cello lessons, but I was observing and participating in some beginning cello lessons about 7-8 years ago, and I noticed that these teachers were having their violin students who had never touched a violin before, very first lesson, hold the instrument. These were group lessons, by the way, not private lessons. So teaching a bunch of kids and just generally getting them to feel like they can hold the instrument, play it, and have fun. So to introduce it, they would have them pluck, and usually here somewhere up in the middle where it's a bit more comfortable rather than an extreme. For cello, this is called fourth position. So that was quite interesting, and I have been utilizing that and have found not only does it help with intonation, but it helps with dexterity, and you get your finger strength up, and lots of other things, which you can find in the course that I will be talking about more in the future. It's not quite ready for release yet. I have some editing to do on the videos. However, if the PDF is about ready, and if anyone's interested in the PDF of just the music with annotations and some introductory remarks, I would be more than happy to send it to you for a small fee. Probably $10, but send me a message and perhaps we can work something out. For now, the going price is $10 or $9.99. So just to show a few examples, the tone piece number 1 by Schlumüller is just open D. Pretty boring, but necessary to learn as a beginner. But how do you learn to control it? Short bow strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can pluck the open strings with your left hand. Start with your pinky because it needs the most work, generally speaking. It's the shortest, it's the weakest. Of course, work on all your fingers, but 1, 2, 3, 4, or down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Several places. And then you can put the bow down and just get to know what the notes are. Number 1 has only open D and open A. And back to D, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. That is the beginning. Then if we skip over to number 5, it's called Song. Schlumüller introduces only the first 2 fingers. 1, and 2. That's what we call them in cello. And only on the A string and D strings. Those two strings are it. And that's pretty typical. Usually, I mean, Suzuki only starts out on those two strings, for example, for basically half of book one. Here's a way that you can get used to what you're doing. Tap the finger. For example, he starts out in measure 1 and 2 as first finger, second finger, second finger, first finger, and it would look like this tapping. So you just get to know what your fingers are doing. And then pizzicato. Like that. And another way to prepare your hand would be to pick up the bow and do very short bow strokes like we've already mentioned. Just so you get used to what's going on. But like I said, in the cello course, you can get to know what that will look like and what I say. Now, put that aside. Here's the Capriccio, and I'm starting to really dig this Capriccio by Korengi. I'm not saying that it's like a really phenomenal piece of music, but it is interesting. I mean, I've said it before, and I think it would be so cool to just incorporate a couple of pieces into your own repertoire. Play the famous pieces because they are really amazing pieces of music, but just every once in a while incorporate a forgotten cello piece of music. Really, really intriguing stuff, and it really makes you work. That's the thing. Like, it's not always musically sound or fluid. It might be interesting, but making music with it can be a little bit tough. So Quarenghi wrote this Capriccio for cello and piano, and it starts like this. completely new section, which is rather crazy to play if you are not performing a lot. So at one point, I'd like to think that I could have prepared this piece in a week and been pretty accurate in my representation. Now, you can tell I promised that I would play this something like a month ago or so, month and a half, and I still feel pretty, well, let's say not too solid about what I can do. I'm going to skip to the part that I'm talking about, and I think you'll see what I'm saying. It goes something like this. So that is what I'm talking about in terms of not feeling so solid. And I can see it already turned off one person. So my fears were confirmed. Now I'm going to skip to the next section. You've probably, if you've been watching my videos. Okay, to be fair, I get an average about 15, 20 views for these mini practices. So probably not very many. Here is the next section. I mean, here is after the next section, like in the middle. I mean, I really like that section. It's just like I said, if you're not performing a lot, your fingers just don't want to move that way. There was actually a point in my life where my fingers would just do that naturally, and I would play it pretty accurately. I'm not saying it was perfect, because I that was my biggest fault, is not really finessing the intonation. Now I'm going to skip to the end. Here's what the end sounds like. It's really virtuosic. so forth. I mean, it's really grown on me, this little piece. So I hope that you will like it too, and that I do a pretty decent representation of what the piece really is. All right. Well, uh, I'm trying to get my podcast episode up and ready, and that's what this particular Capriccio is going to be featured as the next segment. I'm planning on just doing a short episode that talks just briefly about this Capriccio and how I think it can be utilized in learning, like let's take Chopin's Polonaise Brillante for cello and piano, for example. I think this could be utilized, if not all of it, at least some of it. Just do a cut. As a matter of fact, the particular PDF that I downloaded from IMSLP for free has a gigantic cut in it, which I agree with. If you're looking to play a different piece of music, but not 10 or 12 minutes worth of it, then cut out some of it and just have fun with it. So that's the Capriccio. Be looking for the guided cello practice. And as a reminder, it is a preparation tutorial. So it's not going through and teaching you how to play everything in the piece or the piece explicitly. It's telling you, it's informing you how to prepare to play the piece, to get yourself ready. And in that regard, for beginner pieces, I have become very well versed. I feel pretty confident about it. And I think you will too once you get a little taste of preview. And so be looking for that. Thanks for watching, and be sure and leave a comment, like, and subscribe, follow. That'd be great. Bye for now.